save a little bit to be able to buy hamburgers as much as I need.
He's hoping the money will help end some preventable diseases, as federal funding for many health, foreign aid, and public assistance programs has been slashed. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
What you eat could raise your risk of a degenerative brain disease.
People who eat more ultra-processed foods are more likely to have early signs of Parkinson's disease. Research by the American Academy of Neurology showed eating ultra-processed foods like breakfast cereal, packaged sweets, and sweetened beverages could potentially influence the development of Parkinson's disease. But it's still unknown if they can cause Parkinson's.
CBS's Michael George. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning on a beautiful morning. Almost feels like springtime. Well, it is springtime, but it feels so great this weather. Get up in the morning and see the birds or hear the birds and see them fly, etc. And although, as Brian mentioned at the break, we've got possibly some storm issues coming up this afternoon, but welcome to Tennessee. If you love the weather today, wait till tomorrow. We are very, very fortunate this morning to have with us two individuals who will be sharing with you a program that really sounds to me most unique, certainly most welcomed, and indeed making a real impact on our young men and young women. I'm going to initially introduce the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Youth Rises, Mr. Wendell Moon, who brings a brilliant background, and what a delightful individual. Wendell, do you want to introduce your associate here, and then we're going to ask about the background of both of you before we talk about Youth Rises.
Yeah, I would love to. Bill, thanks for having us. This is always great fun, and I may snag some of that Diet Pepsi here in a minute. But Bill, it's good to be here representing Youth Rising. Thank you. Representing Youth Rising, very important organization, and it's been an honor to work with it. With me in the studio here today is Caitlin Okresick, and she is our VP of Program Operations. Mm-hmm. I prefer a title that's more like the VP of what does it take to get it done?
And done well.
Yes, and done extremely, extremely well.
You're
but
too kind.
We've had a lot of fun working together over this past. We're coming up on almost a year with Youth Rising.
Fantastic. And your background, most people go from Nashville to Napa, Sonoma in California for enjoying the wine and the other items there. In fact, I always remember my last time to Sonoma in the downtown square was the most wonderful cheese store. And you could sample all the cheese in downtown Sonoma. But you were born in Napa.
That's right. That's right.
Do you take a nap every afternoon?
That's right.
He wishes.
I wish. But listen, there's no sleep for the wicked.
Absolutely. So you spent most of your early life in Napa, Sonoma?
That's right. I grew up there till I was, my family moved from Napa to Murfreesboro, Tennessee in the early 2000s. I'd like to say we moved to Middle Tennessee before it was cool. Before the word got out.
Yes.
But it's been fascinating to watch just the community grow since the early 2000s, Bill.
And you went to
Carson Newman.
Out in
Carson
East
Newman
Ten-
College, now Carson Newman University in Jeff City, Tennessee. Shout out to all of my Jeff City friends that no longer live there.
A lot
that
of
got out the same time I did.
a lot of alumni. And your major there was?
That's right. My major, so I two majors, one in communication studies with an emphasis in radio, TV, and film.
Wow.
And I was the first film major at Carson Newman, and perhaps one day they'll name a bench after me.
Maybe a a building maybe after you.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
we'll see.
its own studio.
I like how you think big, Bill.
That's what we're here for. And from there, you joined Youth Rises?
That's right. And so, yeah, that's we're jumping forward in time a good bit, but I was just freelance director, producer, writer, editor. As I shared with you earlier, Bill, my first love with film was documentary storytelling. And so that really took me around the world. Just, I have a love, and it's a passion of mine to tell real people's stories. And so when this opportunity with Youth Rising just came to me, I mean, thanks to an algorithm, the opportunity presented itself, and I read the job description. I was like, well, yeah, I want to be a part of that, because a lot of my background is actually in empowering the next generation in leadership and in storytelling. So it was just kind of a no-brainer.
You know, you're making an impact on the 22nd century. Because the young men and young women, many of them will be leading into 2100, and you're making an impact.
That's right. Crazy.
And Caitlin, your background, when Wendell mentioned he majored in this, well, you were an Air Force brat as a major, general, whatever. But your background, what were some of the bases that you went around the world to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved to Nashville in 2019 from the Gulf Coast, Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, okay.
But prior to that, yeah, my dad was a C-130 pilot. So we were all over the place. In England, Mildenhall, Minnesota, Hobart Field, and Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
How was it growing up as a moving about?
It made me want to not move ever again.
Okay, you make friends, and then you reestablish making new friends, and then you reestablish making new friends.
Yeah, but it got me comfortable being able to travel and get outside of my comfort zone. So I really consider it a blessing. But I graduated college at the University of West Florida. Go Argos! I can't say that
Florida.
Yeah, I can't say that there was a major made after me, but I did go down the route of mass communications with a specialization in public relations. And from there, I got a really cool internship at the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And that was an awesome opportunity because it let me kind of explore all these different industry sectors and learn about small business to large business, and really fell in love with the nonprofit world. And then from there, I moved to Nashville to work at the Nashville Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I felt like I'd had enough of the chamber world. I knew I loved nonprofit life, but I, again, just like Wendell mentioned, I came across this nonprofit, and it really just spoke to me. I've always had a passion for mental health, young adults, and so when I saw it come up, I couldn't resist but look into it.
Well, this is Mental Health Month, and Mental Health Month not in terms of a disrespect for those who may be experiencing mental illness or mental challenge, but an opportunity to say that we are always concerned about our physical well-being. We must equally be concerned about our emotional and mental well-being.
Absolutely.
So when I first saw the reference to Youth Rises, you know, I had many different visions and imaginations in my mind. You know, Youth Rises, like in the streets rising up with protests, or what is youth? Tell me how it began. Tell me its history. Tell me where it started. Tell me what it's doing now in Middle Tennessee and primarily in the Rutherford County area.
So Tasha Locks is our founding CEO, and she could not be with us today. And if she were here, she would be able to really get into some of those interesting details of kind of how it started. But, you know, it was in the early 2000s, and then coming upon 2011, there was kind of an incubator, Bill. And so a group, and so Tasha got together with this group of youth, and this is really important to note, is when she got together with the youth, it was sort of like, hey, there's an opportunity here in the community. And she just listened to them. She asked questions. She listened. This is the important thing about youth and young adults right now. And I remember being
we're defining youth. Is there a particular 12 to 21 or 10 to 28? Or how about 70 and 80? You know,
I tell you, well, there's an idea of serving children of all ages there, Bill. So I think that we never truly grow up. I think in a lot of ways we're always sort of juvenile in a lot of ways. And so, you know, Tasha got together with a group, and they were probably high school age, and there was an opportunity to develop something for the community. And so she just created an environment and an experience where these youth really felt like they had a voice. And from there, that's really what got this whole thing started. Caitlin?
And I think you make a great point of asking, you know, what age is youth defined as? And really what we call them transitional age youth, which really there's so much transition between the ages of 13 all the way to 25. You're going through so many changes in your life. And so that's our sweet spot. And it really is dependent. I think one of the special things about Youth Rising is that we're very intentional about going into communities, listening to what the community needs, and not just putting, you know, a template down and saying, okay, we've done what we wanted to do here, but understanding the unique struggles and issues for those youth in that community and serving them in that way.
But the dimension of youth, and I'm even thinking just in Murfreesboro or Smyrna, and I'm thinking of many of the students, including dual enrollment that I have at Motlow, I can't generalize that just because you're in this age bracket, this is your characteristics, this is your issues, this is your problem. So how do you identify the different populations of that youth? You know, there may be those that are emotionally an issue. There are those that because of poverty or low-income environments may be different. There are those that may be new residents to the area that have emigrated from another country. So do you create different dimensions and then identify, or just, as you said, and talk about it, listen, you just listen?
And I think that's a great point. I think really that's why we call our programs and services holistic and wraparound, because for once youth that is struggling in one way, it may be completely different from another youth. And I think that our drop-in centers that we have in different locations across the U.S., our on-the-ground staff are absolutely incredible. Couldn't do what we do without them, and they listen to those youth. They understand what they need, and from there are able to help provide them with the services and support that they need.
Is there more than one in Middle Tennessee in Rutherford County? Or is there one, and if there is, where is it located? And how does a child or a teenager access it?
Well, we've got drop-ins all over. The one here in Murfreesboro is really being used as our headquarters and our office right now. But we are in the process of piloting a number of different programs. And so I would encourage a youth and young adult right now to go to youthrising.org and look for Amplify, because this is where any youth, young adult, they could sign up now. The program is free, Bill. The program is free.
No cost.
There is zero cost. This is important to note for all listeners, because these experiences and programs and services are being underwritten by our grants. And so we are predominantly federal funded, which is key. We are in the process of building and recultivating a donor base. And so for the youth and young adult that's out there that's creative, and you're kind of just experiencing, maybe you feel like your life is a little stagnant, you feel like there's something more, I want just for you to hear from the bottom of my heart, you have a voice, and we want to hear it. And so we'd love to connect with you. This is more than just signing up for a program, but we do have intentional programs that are evidence-informed, Bill, that actually do bring support, that do bring some of those essential services that are going to set youth and young adults up for success in their life.
Great.
It's about future-ready competencies.
Now, how much of this is any of this online, or is
Yes.
this all? So it's as much online as it is in person.
Yeah. So we're so Amplify specifically is the program that is going to be virtual. There will be an in-person element to it. And so a lot of the programs that we have predominantly been in person, we're now bringing those into the virtual space to be able to meet youth where they're at.
Would I be out of line if I said, is this a viable, wonderful, effective alternative to TikTok? I'm sorry.
Well,
this is an informal visit.
Controversial question.
Yeah, I like where your head's at, Bill. I really do. I think that's interesting. I think, just like communication has a number of different channels and pathways, and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, these are tools. We don't always know how to use these tools, though, Bill. And so we think that we have this incredible opportunity and responsibility to show the next generation how to use these tools effectively.
All right, let me walk you through a scenario. I'll be either a teenager or a parent, or equally important, a grandparent who is not necessarily concerned, but wants to invest more in terms of the well-being of my grandchild. So you gave me an access to an email address. One more time, give me that access to...
So you can check out all of our different programs, which locations we're at, and who to get a hold of for each program and service at youthrising.org.
Youthrising.org. That's easy. That's easy. So I access it, and what does my screen show, and what opportunities do I show at this particular time?
Well, immediately there's what we call a hero image to all of those people that work in website design and development. You know what I'm talking about? But it's a beautiful image of a youth that actually was a part of Youth Rising. And you're going to just see a very simple but important theme statement. This is a mantra that we live by. When youth rise, we all rise.
Right.
Why? Because youth are the future.
Now, I've got to say this because I think it's extremely important. You're already operating in other parts of the country with these drop-in facilities.
That's
so
right.
it's not something that's a conceptual idea that, well, maybe we can get this off the ground. Maybe we can raise the funds. Maybe we can raise it. You already are successful. Define then where they are. I know you mentioned off the air in Idaho and New Mexico, basically in the West. And I made a comment when we met that the West has a somewhat different philosophy of life than the East or the Midwest or even the South. And that philosophy is independence. And that philosophy is based on open space, and not only geographic open space, but emotional and mental open space. So define one of the facilities. If I were in Idaho, is it in Boise or in Twin Falls? Or
So it is. We have two in Idaho. One is in Emmett, Idaho. The other is in Mountain Home.
Oh, that's
both,
the Air Force.
Yeah, yep.
Major Air Force Base.
Yeah, and it's right. They're both right outside of Boise.
Yes.
But like we mentioned off the air, we were very intentional about finding locations that didn't necessarily have the services that youth needed, very rural communities. And like you mentioned about that part of the country, there's oftentimes a lot of stigma associated with mental health and talking and being talking out loud about it and being honest about it. And so we're really intentional about breaking through, making it, normalizing it, making kids feel heard. And then we have another location in Klamath Falls, Oregon, another rural community. And we're currently in the process of opening a location in New Mexico.
What, Albuquerque or Santa Fe or?
Southeastern.
Toward
Hobbs.
El Paso. Oh, Hobbs.
Hobbs.
Okay.
Lee County, Hobbs, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we had a series of mental health experts last week on the Roundtable, and we spent a lot of time talking about creating an equality of interest and equality of awareness between physical health and mental health. And if you have a sprained ankle, You say, I have a sprained ankle, and you're going to get it bandaged and treated.
That's right.
And I guess if somebody said, I have a sprained brain, you want to get that bandaged and healed.
Yeah, it's so much easier, when you can see it physically.
And you take the analogy that you look upon mental health, even though the complexity is greater, and even though the treatment may be different, you're still dealing with the body, whether it's the brain or whether it's the ankle or whether it's the leg and so forth. If I were to go into Mountain Home, Idaho, and I spent a whole evening there once on the transfer of flight from Honolulu to March Air Force Base, Southern California, by way of Mountain Home, and great place to attract the young men and women, the children, the brats, if you may, the military brats, to give them an opportunity to build a foundation. What would I walk into? What would the facility look like? Give me a visual of what the facility would look like in Mountain Home, and what's some of the activities, what's some of the conversation, who are the people leading it? Are they volunteers? Are they staff? Just kind of walk me through. I've just landed in Mountain Home, and you're walking me through a facility.
Well, the spaces that we create, we've designed them in such a way that they are non-clinical. So what we shared with you earlier, Bill, this is really important. Mental health support in a non-clinical setting. That's at the heart of what we do. And what's amazing to think about is 50% of mental health problems actually appear by age 14.
Really?
And 75% by age 24. So this is timely that we're talking about this. So everything is about creating that, what I call third place. Home is first place, work is second place. Everyone wants a third place, right? And where everyone knows your name. And so for youth and young adults, we want that to be a safe environment that is going to be a judgment-free zone where they're going to get introduced to peer advocates that are going to come alongside them, get to know them, get to know what they need. So in Mountain Home, you're going to meet some of our favorite people. You're going to meet Heather, who is our site coordinator. She's the most extraordinary person.
Does she give a Heather report?
Yes, she does. She does. She
Good,
does.
good.
She
Temperature
does.
is cool and cooling.
That's right. That's right. So Heather, and then Bailey works with her as well, and they do a phenomenal job of creating spaces and programs where these youth are able to, one of the things that they do is on Mondays, they have these like mindful Mondays, right? Where they have these conversations where they're talking about some of these topics and themes that are important to them. But then one of the other things that's really important is prevention. And so they have a series called Rise Against Bullying.
Good.
So this
is a very, very big issue
very vital
right now. Yeah.
And so these are the types of things. So when you come in, you're going to kind of see a little bit of a living room that's dressed up a little bit more. There's going to be a nice big screen TV on the wall there. You're going to have a pool table. There's a beautiful
what do they have
mural
on the TV?
Oh man, anything from
Cartoons.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
pictures of you, Bill.
Oh, thank you.
And I think it's really important to mention, they created this Mindful Monday, what they call Mindful Monday Club. The youth created it. It was not something that we decided, up in headquarters, we want you guys to start doing this. They created it because they wanted it. And it's totally volunteer. You're welcome to come, or you don't even have to be a part of it at all. And I think that's the interesting part about these drop-in centers. As you walk in, I would bet Heather would probably say it's a little bit of organized chaos because you got a bunch of youth running around, but in a good way. There's some that are in the corner talking and just catching up with each other. There's one that's maybe getting some tutoring help from Bailey. There's a group of guys that are playing pool. So you get a little bit of everything. And again, it's just meant to be a safe place where they just can be themselves.
We'll be right back after these words, but I want to get going on the fact that I want to see the combination of Wendell's love and passion of documentaries and having young men and young women create documentaries. And I think the creativity and the equality of opportunity is phenomenal. But we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
Middle Point landfills Mike Klassen.
Let's do the right thing and get some recycling programs off the ground.
Middle Point's trying hard to start a recycling program.
You know, if anyone sees your water bill, you have a waste charge on there, and the city has said it's going to go up from $11 per month up to like $33 per month. For less than half of that cost, we could put a cart at every single person's house and have a fully fledged recycling curbside program that would be immediately viable in this county. Like, that opportunity is here for this city, and it's here now.
The answer's here. Middle Point Landfill.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft chews, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pests, bees, buzzing rodents running all through my house. Ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I'm overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. Are you new to town? Maybe you want to learn more about the community. Well, the Rutherford County Historical Society invites you to come over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse every Saturday morning from 9 until noon and talk local history. They'll answer your questions and share history that you didn't know. And it's all free, including the coffee and donuts. That's Saturday mornings, 9 until noon, at the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse, 717 North Academy Street. People are asking about Spring Fling. That's a little bit down the road, but we wanted to let you know it's May 20th through 23rd, and volunteers are needed. Get with the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce and see how you can help. Spring Fling, May 20th through the 23rd. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms at times this afternoon with cloudy skies, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight, chance for storms, a low 58. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 70.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE Sharing Change is funded by members who round up their electric bills to the nearest dollar each month as a donation and support hundreds of local nonprofits. Find out more at sharingchange.org.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause, second segment of the Thursday morning edition of the WGNS Roundtable, and we are most delighted to have with us two people from the Youth Rising organization. And before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to its founder and president, Tasha Locks. And I guess I would probably say with Tasha's name, I would say she is unlocking the potential of the youth
see what
of
you
the
did
world.
there, Bill.
Yes, she's
nice job.
unlocking the potential.
Yes.
So
I love that.
Wendell Moon, who's the vice president of communications, public relations, everything and anything and all things and what have you. Your love and your passion among professionally, plus you have three little boys, which
That's
is
right. That's
super,
right, Bill.
and a lovely wife. I would say, how do you combine, or how do you plan to combine your passion for creating documentaries and opening up, unlocking, using the term again, the creativity and future focus of young men and young women in making video, making film?
I'd love this question. Bill, you've done a great job this morning with hosting this.
Well, I have great people here.
I love that. I love that. So this is a topic I'm really, really passionate about, because we believe at Youth Rising that all youth and young adults, they have a voice, and they have a creative voice. It just requires somebody to listen. And so we're super excited, and we're piloting Amplify is what it's called. We're piloting it right now. So a young adult can go to the website, they can fill out a simple interest form, and what you're going to experience is you're going to get assigned to a cohort and to a group, and you're going to get support that will teach you all of the basics and all of the elements of taking an idea and turning it into a story, and then taking that story and turning it into a film. And these are stories that start with your lived experience. This is important, because when you understand how valuable your lived experience is, and you can put that into a story, what that does for you, Bill, what that does for any person, is that it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence in who you are. It gives you confidence in your story, in your past, in your future. And so I'm excited about this, because that's where everything starts. It's your ability to share your own life story. And so we're going to do this in a creative way.
Can you see now why he was able to convince his college to create a whole new major?
Oh, but
and his passion behind
have
it.
I got an opportunity for you, Wendell?
Oh, okay.
Let me plant the seed. Based upon what you said before, you are welcoming businesses in Middle Tennessee to become part of the organization and involved through internship. Let me give you a little opportunity to think of this. Okay. Rather than assign a young man or young woman to an organization to walk around, follow them as an intern, to walk around, follow them, and pick up paper clips or whatever else it may be, what would be the thought of training these young men and women to bring out the creativity of the owner of the business and do a documentary of the business and build the business so that they're doing this. This is a, quote, product, a documentary of the Bedoing Doing Shirt Company. And the owner of Bedoing Doing Shirt Company now has the opportunity to put it on visual, get his employees involved on contributing to this documentary, the history of the company, the mission of the company, and the excitement and potential of the company, and involve the young man or young woman to be coordinating it, of course, with your help.
I love that idea. It's so funny you bring that up, because in addition to Amplify, we're also working on another program called Youth Force that will be in the Middle Tennessee region, including Rutherford County, where youth have the opportunity to get on-the-job training. They get paid to work there, and we're in the spot right now where we're searching for businesses that might be interested in being supporters or partners of this initiative. I love the idea of kind of partnering that or melding that with Amplify, and it being a creative workforce development experience.
Well, there's something even further. This is the residual from it. If I see a 15-year-old young lady with a camera or with the assist of a camera, getting people together to, in a particular organization, to throw out ideas. Why are we here? What are we doing? But it ultimately allows the ownership of that company to focus on what are they really doing and why aren't they marketing that way? Why aren't they doing their public relations that way? Are they missing something? If you talk about a restaurant, and we have a lot of wonderful, wonderful restaurants here in Middle Tennessee, it isn't just serving a hamburger. It's having a customer's day become so much brighter because of the phenomenal lunch they just had.
That's right.
And you suddenly get a whole different, quote, emphasis on the ownership, seeing what their company is more than just four walls and a glass window. And that may be, that suddenly makes you different than just, a lot of, and I don't mean this as a negative, a lot of people do offer internships. And I have worked very strongly with students, and even as a city manager for years, had interns. And I would not say to an intern, yes, you can walk behind somebody, yes, you can shadow people and so forth, but I want you to do something that nobody has done in this municipality. And I want you to put your teeth and your arm and your emotion and your love and your passion into this project. And that suddenly becomes a two-way win for the young person and for the ownership. And suddenly the ownership is seeing their company through a different set of eyes, even though they may be young eyes.
I love that.
And not only that, but, having, especially if you're retail or hospitality, having someone like a young person who is usually your client, customer, being able to bring their perspective is a very interesting, marketing technique and tool. It can really expand your sales and your success.
Did you ever have a young person, I'm just thinking that there's a lot of companies that do this, that do the mystery shopper at a store, and they go in and see how a 16-year-old was treated by the person at the counter? And and this is
that's interesting.
And
great
suddenly,
idea.
This is like Undercover Boss.
Oh, without question.
This is fascinating.
So I mean, you have the opportunity. Is there a phone number that people who can be really interested in saying, "Hey, this is what we need in Middle Tennessee. This is what we need in Smyrna and Murfreesboro, and we need throughout our retail area," is expanding a new chapter for young men and young women, and the young man and young woman who potentially says, hey, it isn't just sitting around like a coffee shop playing pool and listening to music, which is the socialization is phenomenal, but one step further, this may be a potential of an after-school job. This may be the potential of a job while they're attending MTSU. This may be the potential of a resume building. And, I always stress to young men and young women, you never are too early to start resume building.
Absolutely. Definitely.
You were going to provide another program you were going to be talking about?
Yes, that's Youth Force One. That is for the Workforce Development Program for the Middle Tennessee region.
And describe that, if you could.
Yeah, so essentially, we recognize that there's honoring our mission of providing holistic wraparound services. We know that workforce development, in order for a youth to turn into a successful adult, they need to be able to go into the workforce and understand things like how to build a resume, how to apply for a job, how to have a successful interview. And so that is why we're working on this program that is in collaboration with local businesses in our region to not just necessarily be partners and promise they're going to hire this selection of youth, but just say, yeah, we're willing to have them come in for an interview and we're willing to potentially hire them, but we want to support their growth in this realm.
This is at no cost to the business, Bill.
Okay, good.
This is at no cost. All we're asking for the business is to invest a little bit of your time and your experience into the future leaders of this country. That's what we're asking.
I see if you got 3 or 4 businesses, leaders together, and they served as an interview panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they had a young man, young woman be going through a mock interview, and what these 3 prospective employers would be actually looking for. It's beyond just what they're wearing. It's beyond how they're groomed. It's beyond whether they have an eye contact with the interviewer. It's beyond the fact of, are they enthusiastic? Are they positive? Are they really saying, you know, I'm the very best fit you can have in this organization without question. I always like to raise this, and I've raised this a number of times before, and you certainly know the answer, probably more than 99% of the population. What's the difference between listening and hearing?
Oh, gosh. I mean,
well,
it depends. Ask my wife. And
I would do this for you. You're walking down the street, and somebody comes toward you who you know, and they say, "How are you doing, my friend?" "I'm dying of cancer." "Hey, that's great. Have a wonderful day." They heard you, but they didn't listen.
Yeah.
And how do we develop listening techniques? And from my initial meeting with you and visit with you, I see that you're a listening group, and we don't listen often. We don't listen. You know, we're spending time on email and texting and what have you. We may be reading, but we're not listening.
Or we're thinking about, what am I going to say back?
Exactly.
Before the person's even finished their thoughts. Absolutely.
You know, one of my heroes is Fred Rogers.
Oh, Mr. Rogers,
and
a Marine.
He, that's right, which is, I think, why he wore the sleeves.
Do
long
you wear a
sleeves.
sweater in the wintertime?
Well, sometimes I do, Bill, but you'll learn a lot about me.
All right.
And so, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood created a safe place for me as a young person, because as a young boy, I had a lot of trauma. There was a lot of trauma that happened.
Yes.
And it's important to note for all the listeners, Bill, everyone that works at Youth Rising, everyone has lived experience to be able to know how to connect and empathize with our youth and young adults.
And listen.
And so this is a part of the listening, that there's a direct correlation between empathy and listening. And what Fred Rogers did, and there's this beautiful interview where he talks about, I'm becoming increasingly concerned with how much noise there is in our world, and we are becoming increasingly uncomfortable with silence. That we're obsessed and now addicted to noise, and we're not willing to stop and just sit in the silence, because sometimes that is listening. What listening asks of you is to sit there and create a space where who knows what is going to get shared. But because that happened, because Tasha Locks did that for a young girl, Micah, she is now working with youth, and she's in the process of getting ready to take the drop-in experience and take it out to the community everywhere. She is a living testimony of the impact of active listening. It is a full circle story. We actually have a short documentary that's coming out on social here in the next couple of days.
And a secondary
about her.
factor to that, Wendell, body language.
That's right.
Do you learn a body language to be a better listener, or do you just adapt yourself to be a better listener through body language?
Well, I don't know the exact stat, but I know it's like 90% of communication is through body language.
Yep.
So I think that plays a massive factor into it as well.
It's 93%.
Well, you know, I always tell.
Of course, you would know that one.
I always tell students the best way to get an A with any teacher is become a nodder. You nod. Yes.
I'm sure you can see me doing that. I remember I had a previous boss of mine that I just noticed. I really always felt like I was heard and listened to, and I tried to figure out what it was about her, and it was because I realized she would just nod and kind of just like keep her eye contact with me. And I realized how much it affected me, and so I always try to think about that when I communicate with people now.
Or even if you lean forward to listen rather than leaning back to listen, you know, that's giving signs. We'll be right back for the conclusion of this wonderful visit, and I want you to give out a phone number when we're done. I want people to put this as one of the upcoming assets of Rutherford County. not just another assisted child or assisted teenager, but the opportunity to do something special. We have to find new ways. We have to find ways to respond. We'll be right back after these words.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
On gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LIFE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code LIFE.
First Shot, growing in Christ with life and athletic skills.
So we teach God's Word at everything we do to implant it in them so that they understand that the only way to get through the world is with God on their side.
First Shot founder and executive director Andy Herzer.
Our focus is on our inner city here at Patterson Park.
From academics to athletics, First Shot's focus is toward building a stronger, more courageous spirit to face opportunities and obstacles that our youth confront every day. To find out more about First Shot, go to firstshottn.org.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause, the final segment of the Thursday morning WGNS Radio Roundtable. And I hope you're enjoying as much as I am. Some insights, some shared experiences, and most importantly, a proposal and plan for not only businesses. I'm assuming you even be looking for volunteers along the way, people who want to participate, take part, either online or in person, to be friends of teenagers, etc. Wendell and Caitlin, take it from the beginning. If somebody is interested in saying, you know, you've triggered my interest, you've triggered my passion. We all agree without question that dealing successfully, not just dealing, but dealing successfully and effectively with the young men and young women of tomorrow is a priority for this nation through education, through socialization. I guess I would almost say, because I'm intrigued by Wendell's love of doing documentaries, if you could almost extend the documentary to having a group of teenagers come in and create their own gaming. Not creating necessarily games, because I would probably say one of the significant issues, this is a personal opinion, of crisis and an initial issue of violence is through the amount of games that young people, and that goes pretty young, 5, 6, 7 years old, watching on their computer, to be able to turn that competitiveness of gaming to the competitiveness of life.
That's interesting. That's really, really interesting. I think one of the big things that cuts through that, because, I mean, we're all susceptible to the dopamine hit, Bill. We're all susceptible to it.
Yes.
And we have these little disposable thumbs, and it's really easy to just keep swiping and scrolling. We all do it, and it happens. One of the best ways that we cut through that noise is it's the power of the other person. It's the power of the volunteer, the peer advocate. It's the power of people like Micah and Elizabeth and Heather that are out in the field serving the youth and young adults, like Bailey. It's people that are like, you know what? I want more for my community. I want more for my world. I want more for the future leaders. And so it's not a, hey, put that down. What are you doing? It's a, hey, what do you care about? What are you interested in? Oh, I like games. Oh, tell me about, why do you like games? What games do you like? What about it is interesting to you? Well, you know, I like the, you know, it's cool. It's, you know, fun. Okay, but like, tell me more about that. Like, I really, truly want, there's curiosity here, Bill. That's what we're getting at.
Exactly.
And I think that if we want to be good listeners, we've got to be curious about who the other person is.
Correct.
Because it's not about what, it's about why. And you're not going to get to know why if you lead in with what all the time, right?
Well, you're in the endeavors, and I compliment all of you associated with Youth Risings, as well as the other hundreds, if not thousands, of men and women in our community that volunteer, or staff people, board of directors, members, and so forth, who are working with youth, not in a corrective action, but a preventive action.
That's right.
And if we suddenly focus in the fact that we want to build while we still have the opportunity to build, rather than correct after the damage is done. And I would assume that even in the facilities you've already opened, the success records, as you talked about, Micah, the success records of other people you've reached out to. It'd be interesting ultimately, and I'm sure you either are thinking about it, have done it, or will do it, a documentary on the organization with testimonies by what it meant and what it involved.
Funny you should mention that.
I'm actually working with one of my favorite creative people who is a director and a shooter and an editor. And we've actually filmed a lot of those interviews, and we're in the process of cutting them together now. And so be looking out for that at Youth Rising.
I just, see, when I'm on this program, and it happens almost every week, and I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging, but one of the primary reasons I do this every Thursday morning is it gets my creative juices going.
I can tell.
And I just came up with one. Think about this. And if you don't write this down, all right, you've got a.
This is the incubator with Bill.
You've got a brother. You've got a brother and sister participating. Let's say one is 16, one is 14, brother and sister, and you're working on them to create a legacy documentary, and they will be interviewing their grandparent, and they will be interviewing the grandparent of what was life like. What was it like, Granny, when you were 17? What fears and hopes and loves did you have? What kind of car were you driving, cruising up and down the main drag and so forth in your community? And the question becomes, have them become not just the spectator, but the participant to create a video legacy with the grandparent. And that passes down. And after the grandparent is long gone, and here's the child now in their 30s showing to their children what the grandparent, great-grandparent at that point was like. And it'd be an interesting combined linkage of having the child not just do a documentary or not just quote answer or asking questions, but the question is they create, and they may even talk to other relatives besides the grandparent. I can tell you probably in terms of the study of dementia and Alzheimer's, one of the most fascinating things if you're dealing with a dementia Alzheimer's patient is the fact that it isn't just showing pictures of their earlier life and recognizing people. You find out, what year did you graduate from high school? Well, I graduated from high school in 1956. Easy to access the top 10 songs of 1956 that were the top rock sounds, and you played them for the person. I can tell you, no matter what stage of dementia, Alzheimer's that patient is, it suddenly will open up the door, and you say, okay, tell me about your boyfriend when you heard Rock Around the Clock, you know, which is 1954, actually.
Wow.
And go from there. So this suddenly expands the program, because I think, and I'm saying this with pure honesty, you have to have a somewhat different menu than other people who are passionate in doing the same thing.
That's right.
And the menu is stepping right out and saying, okay, what can we do?
Yeah.
So how do people get involved with your organization?
Well, I love what you're talking about, Bill, because at the end of the day, it is about developing a voice and helping youth and young adults develop their creative voice to make an impact in their communities. That is the end goal here. And we're not interested in developing programs and creating experiences where people learn about their gifts and keep them to themselves. Learn about their creative voice and never share it.
That's a great way to say it.
It is about actually giving them the platform to take that into their community, take it to their school, take it to their church, take it to the business, take it to the next organization that they're going to go serve. And here's the thing, Bill. One of the most sought after, arguably the most sought after competency in anyone entering the workforce is this. Are you ready? Do you know what it is?
Socialization?
Storytelling.
Oh, storytelling.
Oh. It's
True
the person
storytelling.
that knows how to tell the story that is going to change the psyche and the behavior, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
There's this phenomenal story real quick about Detroit some years ago, the mayor of Detroit, because, I mean, we're talking about violence, right? We're talking about this history of like this really dirty narrative that didn't posture the city in a very good light. So the mayor hired someone as a chief storytelling officer of the city of Detroit to rewrite the narrative. And that over time changed people's perceptions. This is the power of story. So we're asking for people to come alongside us, share your story with us. If you don't want to volunteer your time, okay. If you have lived experience, we want to hear about it. But we need people, we need their voice, we need their attention. And it's just an open invitation.
It's curious you said that, because we have on the Roundtable quite often city and county leaders. And we just had a couple of weeks ago the vice mayor of Murfreesboro, Bill Shacklin. And Bill has been here for years and years and years. And Bill has a wonderful historical perspective of Murfreesboro, both as an elected official, as well as an individual, as well as a person who has seen this community change. And I think the conclusion we had in the discussion was that Murfreesboro is still a small town, just with many people in it. Despite the fact that it's 170,000 population, it still is or should be treated as people to people, as a small town, whether you're in the square or whether you're in a shopping center, whether you're walking down the street and see your neighbor. Keep the small town. And that was the relationship that Bill was shifting to, asking people to become involved. It has been a wonderful opportunity and pleasure, and hope you will come back as you formulate and as you have a location and as you are building to the next chapter of the Youth Rising. I think your concept and I think the practice that you already have displayed and experienced in other states will certainly be a phenomenal model for Rutherford County.
Thanks.
Thanks so Caitlin, much. Wendell, keep up the super work. We're proud of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you.